Hello friends, how are you? I think you are good. So friends, in the last lecture we have seen the chemistry of carbohydrate. Already we have completed the chapter chemistry of carbohydrate. But today I am going to take the practical on the estimation of blood sugar, or we can say blood glucose. So this practical is very essential from the point of the MBBS students and BDS students also. So here in this estimation of blood sugar, I will give you some guidelines about this practical, which is essential for the Viva purpose. In the examination you must know that the Viva belongs to the 10 marks, and these 10 marks are very important to get through the examination. If you'll get more and more marks out of 10, it will be very helpful for scoring the subject. So you must know that the guidelines about this practical, that is the estimation of blood sugar level or blood glucose level. Why we do this estimation? A question arises here. See, the blood sugar level which is present in our body, which is needed for the energy purpose, means that it we get through the diet also, and when we receive the blood sugar amount through the diet, it will be degraded to a compound called as pyruvate through the process of glycolysis. So here this blood glucose estimation we do because whether the person is suffering from diabetes or not. Means that if a person is suffering from diabetes, then he will show the blood glucose level more than the normal range. Already I told you in the theory also that the blood glucose levels, they are present in our body and they are estimated through the two different methods. One is known as manual method and other is called as enzymatic method. In manual method, we estimate blood sugar level, and that blood sugar levels are estimated in the form of fasting blood sugar and post-meal blood sugar. Fasting blood sugar level means the person is overnight remain fast. As soon as he will give estimation blood for the testing of the blood glucose, then he will give the blood from the vein, and that is called as fasting blood sugar level. And what is post-meal blood sugar level? After giving the fasting blood sample, the post-meal blood sugar level is estimated. The person is given the food or glucose powder. After 1.5 hours, the blood glucose estimation is done, and that is called as postprandial level or post-meal blood sugar level. So here fasting and post-meal blood sugar levels are estimated in the manual method, and this blood sugar level can be also done in case of the enzymatic method. The enzymatic method is called as the GOD and POD. What is GOD? Glucose oxidase method. What is POD? Peroxidase method. So here we can see first that why this estimation is necessary or important. Here we must know that the more than 20% of the population of the world, they are suffering from the diabetes, and this diabetes is known as endocrine disease. What is diabetes? It is an endocrine disease. The blood sugar level should be normal in our body. Just now I told you the fasting blood sugar level should be 80 to 120 milligram percent. And what will be the normal range for postprandial blood level? It will be 120 milligram percent to 180 milligram percent. The 180 milligram percent of blood sugar level should not exceed. If it exceeds, then the person can cause a disease, or he can suffer from a disease known as hyperglycemia. So this 180 degree milligram percent is very important in our body. It should remain constant, and this 180 milligram percent of the sugar is said to be renal threshold value in our body. So this 180 milligram percent of sugar is called as renal threshold value. It should not exceed. If it exceeds, someone will suffer from a disease called as hyperglycemia. So diabetes. So reason of doing this estimation of blood sugar level or blood glucose level is that to assess the disease. The disease like diabetes, or we can say hyperglycemia, and it becomes necessary to follow up this test in the patients of the diabetes. So here this estimation is very essential to do in the laboratory. So there will be some important guidelines for you, that this estimation is done due to the symptoms in our body. The symptoms like polyuria, polydipsia and polyphagia. Means that these are the terms which is seen by the doctor. Whenever the person goes to the doctor, he will inspect the patient, and he will come to know what happens to him actually. So when there will be the polyuria, the person will tell to the doctor what happening to you. Doctor will ask him. So he will say, sir, I go for urine again and again. Frequently I go for the urine. So means the frequent urination is the term belongs to polyuria. Means it is a term. Polyuria is a term belongs to frequent urination. In the night time, generally the person cannot sleep due to the frequent urination. So therefore the term is polyuria. Polydipsia means a person, time to time he will drink the water. After every 10 to 15 minutes or half an hour, he will take water. Means that loss of water will be there from the body. The polydipsia is the term, that is the symptom of the diabetes. And polyphagia means a normal person generally used to take meal thrice a day. But the diabetic person will take the food again and again. Frequently he will eat. Therefore, this sign is called as polyphagia. Polyphagia means frequent intake of food. That is polyphagia. So if these symptoms are happening or showing in a person, then the doctor will come to know naturally he must prescribe for the blood estimation, blood sugar estimation. So here this polyuria, polydipsia and polyphagia, these are the important terms, these are the important symptoms. And in this diabetes, the person can also become tired. Weakness will be there, and sweating will be there. When he will walk from one place to another, immediate sweating will be there on the face of the person. Therefore, these are the important symptoms. Therefore, the blood sugar level estimation is done. Now, what is the diabetes here? Diabetes can cause due to some reasons. What are the reasons? The reasons like viral infection. These viral infections means the foreign bodies, the foreign toxic substances enter in our body and they suppress the formation of insulin. And this diabetes is nothing but the lack of insulin in our body. Means no preparation, proper preparation will be there in our body of this insulin. Therefore, these viral bodies or the toxic substances, they suppress the insulin secretion from the beta cells of the Langerhans from pancreas. Pancreas, you must know that it contains alpha and beta cells, but beta cell is responsible for the formation of insulin, and this insulin maintains the blood sugar level or blood glucose level in our body. The second point is that why this diabetes occurs. This diabetes occurs due to the autoimmune system. What is autoimmune system? Means in our body antibodies are formed. What are antibodies? Antibodies are nothing but they are the proteins. These proteins are responsible for the immunization of our body. But there will be the suppression of the insulin secretion due to these antibodies. No proper antibodies or no proper immunization will be there due to the loss of the antibodies in our body or due to the autoimmune system. So here you must know that. The third point is that the diabetes can occur due to the hereditary character. What is hereditary character? This type of diabetes or this type of disease will come from the grandfather to father, father to son or daughter. So this is nothing but it is an hereditary character. It becomes hereditary characters. It is genetical condition. These are the reasons which cause the diabetes. Now we'll see first the methods by which this estimation of blood sugar level or blood glucose level is possible. So here two different types of methods are used: reducing and enzymatic method. Just now I told you that what is meant by reducing method. Here a solution, copper sulfate solution, it contains cupric ions, and these cupric ions, they are converted to cuprous oxide when glucose is treated with this copper sulfate solution. Then what happens? The cuprous oxide will be treated with the phosphomolybdic acid, and phosphomolybdic acid will give rise to molybdenum, a blue solution or red blue solution. It is measured on colorimeter. Means that measured on colorimeter means what? A question arises here. Means that colorimeter is nothing but it is a device which measures the optical densities of colored solution. So here what will be the steps for measuring the optical densities? I will just explain you with the help of a diagram. Here this colorimeter, they are of different types. There are some colorimeter, it is said to be single cell instrument, and some they are said to be double cell instrument. So we are using here a single cell instrument. The light source is here, a bulb is shown here, and after this light source a filter will be there. Filters are of different colors. They may be blue, yellow, red, green, orange, so many colors, and these filters depend upon the wavelength. Different wavelengths are given there: 530, 610, 655, 420, like this. So you must know that the wavelength of this filter will be different, and a small cuvette is there. After this filter, the cuvette is there, a small cuvette. See, a cuvette means a small glass tube. And what is test tube? The test tube, belongs to 10 ml. It is bigger than this cuvette, and cuvette is like this. This will be the structure for cuvette, and the test tube will be round. But here the structure will be in the square condition. So here the colored solution is taken. That colored solution of which we have to measure the optical density. So this is a device: light source, filter, cuvette, and a detector is there. The detector is called as galvanometer. It is called as galvanometer. On this galvanometer, a pointer will be there, arrow will be there, and the reading is there. So here you must know that what we have to measure here, the optical densities of the colored solution. Optical densities of the colored solution. Now whenever a light passes through this filter, it is absorbing medium, and this light just proceeds toward the colored solution which is in the cuvette, and this light again proceeds toward the galvanometer. So here I want to say that This is a device known as colorimeter. Now we'll see how the optical densities are measured on the colorimeter. So here the optical densities is equal to IO upon T, where IO is incident light and T is transmitted light. So you must know that if we take the colored solution here, for example of blood, this colored solution is belong to the blood sugar. Light will pass here through the filter, through the cuvette, means through the colored solution, and towards the detector, that is galvanometer. And this galvanometer will show the reading. There will be the deflection of this arrow whenever this light passes through the solution, and that deflection will give us OD. OD means optical density is equal to IO upon T, that is incident light upon transmission light. So you must know that this optical density is measured. Now we were seeing about the methods. One method is called as reduction method. I just told you, reduction method. In this method, what will happen? The reduction of the cupric ions to cuprous oxide takes place. Just now I told you that the reduction method which gives the NADOIL formation. It will give NADOIL formation. What is NADOIL formation? We have seen already that the C is connected with another C with the help of double bond, and OH will be attached there. This is nothing but the NADOIL formation. So in the reduction method, NADOIL formation will take place whenever the glucose is treated. This OH or cupric ions, I have already told you that this cupric ion belongs to copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution we are using here in the estimation of blood sugar level. So here this glucose which is present in the blood or serum, that will be treated with the copper sulfate solution, and this cupric ions which are present converted to cuprous oxide, and that will be treated with phosphomolybdic acid, and this phosphomolybdic acid will give molybdenum blue solution, red blue solution, and that is measured on colorimeter. So you must know that the reduction method is not very perfect one. So many methods are used there for the estimation of blood glucose. For example, Follin-Wu method. Follin-Wu method. This is also a method, that is the reduction method. This Follin-Wu method means a scientist known as Follin-Wu. He reported first the estimation of blood sugar level manually in the laboratory, and he used the Follin-Wu tube for the estimation. This is nothing but it is a Follin-Wu tube he used for the estimation of blood glucose level. The another method is known as O-toluidine method. O-toluidine method. It is a method firstly reported by O-toluidine, a scientist, but this method is rejected. Why? Because it is a carcinogenic method. It is a carcinogenic, means the carcinogenic can happen from the solution, therefore it is stopped, and then the different methods are started. So these are the reducing method which are used in the olden days, O-toluidine, and now in the modern days, Follin-Wu method. These are the reducing method, but these methods are totally do not give a correct reading of the blood glucose estimation or blood sugar level. Why? Because the blood contains another compounds also. The compounds like vitamin C, then uric acid, and then glutathione in the RBCs. So these are the substances which are included in the blood estimation level. Therefore, it is not a correct method to estimate the blood glucose level. So therefore, a new modern method is known as enzymatic method. What is that? Enzymatic method. And this method is known as GOD and POD method. What is GOD? Glucose oxidase. What is POD? Peroxidase method. So here, the glucose which is present in the blood or serum directly reacts with the enzyme. It directly reacts with the enzyme. Means that, I will show you here, glucose will be treated with the enzyme GOD, glucose oxidase, will form gluconic acid, will give rise to gluconic acid. I think you remember that in the chemistry of carbohydrate that we have seen the oxidation reactions of the glucose. So here the glucose, when treated with the GOD, that is glucose oxidase enzyme, it will form gluconic acid. And this gluconic acid, when treated with the phosphomolybdic acid, will form a red solution. In this enzymatic method, the enzymes are directly treated with the glucose, or glucose is directly treated with the enzyme. So here glucose plus water, GOD is used here, and gluconic acid is formed by the oxidation. This GOD and POD is nothing but it is a kit method. Nowadays it is called as kit method. The kits are used in the laboratory by the doctors, and this kit of GOD and POD will contain these two enzymes plus 4-amino antipyrine and the phenol. So here the glucose plus water, when glucose is treated with glucose oxidase enzyme, it will give gluconic acid plus H2O2, that is hydrogen peroxide, and this hydrogen peroxide is treated with the phenol and 4-amino antipyrine with the reaction peroxidase. It will give a pink red color, that is called as quinonamine, and release of water will be there. So this is the principle of the GOD and POD method. Now we will see the procedure for first, that is the reduction method. First we have to prepare the protein free filtrate. How it is prepared, that I will explain here. Protein free filtrate. Protein free filtrate. 7.4 copper sulfate solution is taken, 7.4 ml, and then 0.2 ml blood is taken, and then 0.4 ml sodium tungstate 10%. So here the protein free filtrate preparation will be there. 7.4 copper sulfate solution is taken, 0.2 ml of blood is taken, 0.4 ml of sodium tungstate solution is taken. Now this all is mixed well and filtered, and after filtration what will get? The protein free filtrate. Protein free filtrate means the liquid without protein. It is said to be protein free filtrate. Only glucose amount can be there. Therefore, we have to estimate that. Now we are seeing the reducing method. Okay, prepared here. Now we have to just take 3 different test tubes marked as B, marked as S, marked as T. What is my B? B is nothing but it is a blank test tube, and all these are in ml, milliliter. So here 3 test tubes are marked as B, S for standard and T for test. So here supernatant protein free filtrate is taken in the test tube marked as T, that is for test, and that is unknown. We have to find out the optical density. So here the standard solution is taken whose concentration is 10 milligram %. It is taken in a test tube marked as S. 0.5 ml of the standard solution of the glucose is taken. Then distilled water is taken in the test tube marked as B, 2 ml, and as well as 1.5 ml is taken in the test tube marked as S. Now the alkaline copper sulfate is added to all these three test tubes marked as B, S and T. How much it is added? 2 ml of alkaline copper sulfate solution is added. 2, 2 and 2. So here the three test tubes which we have taken here, now it is mixed well and observed the optical densities on colorimeter, the deflection of galvanometer, and that is nothing but the OD, optical density, and the optical density for B, optical density for S and optical density for T, means that the optical density, the reading will be like this: milligram percent of the sugar is equal to T upon T minus B upon S minus B into 100. Into 100. 100 means in terms of 100 ml we have to calculate the estimation of blood glucose level. So that will be in milligram percent. T minus B is OD of T minus OD of blank upon OD of S minus OD of blank into 100. Into 100. This is by the reduction method. Now whatever the reading will be there, that we have to multiply it by 100, and if it is more than 180 milligram percent, person can suffer from the diabetes. If it is below 180 milligram percent, then it will be the reading for the normal person. So you must know, in this way the estimation of blood sugar level or blood glucose level is done by the reduction method. So this reduction method, it is not a perfect method. Therefore nowadays an enzymatic or kit method is used in the laboratory by the pathologists. In this enzymatic method, three test tubes are marked as blank, standard and test. The blood sample is to be taken 20 microliter only with the help of a micropipette. Nowadays the technology becomes very high, so therefore the serum is taken 20 microliter with the help of micropipette in a test tube marked as T, and the glucose standard, that is 100 milligram percent, it is taken in the test tube marked as S, 20 ml of standard microliter. It is in T, it is in S, and the enzyme reagent is taken in all the test tube, that is in blank also, that is 2 ml of enzymatic solution is taken in the test tube known as B, S and the T. So 2 ml is taken in all the three test tubes, blank, standard and the test tube. Then here this is mixed well properly and the optical density is measured on colorimeter. So now the optical densities which are measured, that we have to just see the reading. Then the reading will be like this. The calculation is like this: T upon S into 100. It will be in terms of milligram percent. In terms of milligram percent. I just told you this T minus B upon S minus B into 100. The optical density of test, optical density of blank, optical density of standard minus optical density of blank into 100. It will come in terms of milligram percent. So here we get true glucose level. True glucose level by this enzymatic method, GOD and POD. What is true glucose level? The correct reading of blood glucose level can be found out with the help of GOD and POD method, but the readings which are included by uric acid, vitamin C or glutathione peroxidase in the reduction method, that will be not a true glucose. So here this method is very correct method to find out the blood sugar level or blood glucose level. Now from the point of the Viva, interpretation is must here. Now if suppose an examiner will ask you about the interpretation of the blood sugar estimation, so you have to answer properly. Interpretation means in which diseases blood sugar level increases, in which diseases the blood sugar level decreases. So this is nothing but the interpretation. In the interpretation, if you see from the point of the Viva, it is very important here. So here some diseases are there in which the blood sugar level increases, that I will explain you here. The hyperthyroidism, hyperpituitarism, hyperadrenalism. So these are nothing but the hyperactivity of the thyroid, hyperactivity of the pituitary gland or hyperactivity of adrenal will show the raise of blood sugar level in our body. And the other reason is that the intracranial stress like encephalitis, or meningitis will also show the raised value of blood glucose or blood sugar level more than 180 milligram percent. I already told you what is 180, that is the renal threshold only. If it exceeds, then the person can suffer from hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia means more amount of glucose than the normal range is said to be the hyperglycemia. The condition is called as hyperglycemia. So in the intracranial stress like encephalitis and meningitis, the blood sugar level can increase, blood glucose level can increase. The role of insulin will be there. The role of insulin, the main role of insulin is that it promotes glycolysis and glycogenesis. See, these are the two metabolic pathways, glycolysis and glycogenesis. The role of insulin means the secretion of insulin takes place in our body from the pancreas, from the beta cells of the Langerhans. Then what will be the role? It will promote glycolysis and glycogenesis in the condition known as hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia is the condition where we can see the increased level of blood glucose level. So at this time glycolysis is promoted by the insulin. Glycolysis is nothing but the oxidation of glucose to pyruvate. Already glucose will be present more in the body, in the blood, then there is no need of glucose. Therefore glycolysis is promoted by the insulin. Glucose is converted to pyruvate, and glycogenesis is nothing but the formation of glycogen from glucose. Or you can say that glycogenesis means glycogen synthesis in the liver. This glycogen is stored in the body, in the liver. Whenever glucose is needed, it is broken down. So this glycogen is formed from glucose. Therefore, these are the two metabolic processes which are just promoted by the insulin. And what will be the inhibition here? The gluconeogenesis. And the glycogenolysis. It is inhibited by the insulin. Means this insulin which promotes glycolysis and glycogenesis, but it inhibits gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis. What is gluconeogenesis? Gluconeogenesis is a metabolic process where glucose is formed by the amino acids. So no need of glucose in the condition hyperglycemia. Therefore, inhibition of gluconeogenesis will take place there, and glycogenolysis is nothing but the breakdown of glycogen to glucose. So during the process of this hyperglycemia, no need of this gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. Therefore, insulin will inhibit these processes, gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. So this is nothing but the interpretation in the hyperglycemia. Glycemia. So this is nothing but lower the amount of glucose will be there in the blood or in the body, that is said to be the hypoglycemia, lower than the normal range. So this can go up to 50, 45, that condition milligram percent in our body. Therefore, this condition is called as hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is a condition where the amount of blood glucose will be lower than the normal range, and the role of insulin will be there as it will inhibit glycolysis and glycogenesis. So I told you that the role of insulin will be there. It inhibits glycolysis and glycogenesis. What is glycolysis? The breakdown of glucose to pyruvate. But here in the hypoglycemic condition, blood is required, glucose is required. Therefore, it inhibits glycolysis. Glucose is required there, and glycogenesis is nothing but it is a process where the formation of glycogen will be there. So here it inhibits this both the processes and promotes gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. Lysis is nothing but the breakdown, and genesis is nothing but it is the formation. So here you must know that genesis and genolysis is breakdown, genesis is the formation. It promotes gluconeogenesis. In the hypoglycemic condition, glucose is needed, therefore it promotes gluconeogenesis, and it promotes glycogenolysis. The breakdown of glycogen to glucose is needed here. Therefore, in hypoglycemic condition, the role of insulin becomes the inhibition of the glycolysis and glycogenesis, promotion of gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. So this is the interpretation. Now you must know that hypoglycemia can also occur due to the more dose of insulin given accidentally by the doctor. More dose of insulin, therefore glucose level become low, and another cause will be insulinoma will be the other cause for the hypoglycemic condition, and the starvation is also one of the important reason to become the hypoglycemic condition. So these are the interpretation can be asked by the examiner in the examination. So this is the very important point from the point of the examination. Interpretation of the blood glucose estimation or the blood sugar level. So friends, if you like my lecture, give comment and share it and subscribe it. Thank you very much.